All right. Awesome. All right. Thanks. So, how to kind of kick this off? My name is Jonathan Miranda, and I'm the Director of Strategy here at Salesforce in the Bay Area. And a lot of what I do with my job is I talk with customers about the future, right? Our customers are now getting large enough that they don't necessarily care about what we do today, but where we're at in the next 3, 5, 10 years. And our group specifically has to kind of paint that vision of the future. And just recently, Salesforce was named by Fortune and Forbes as the #1 company that's innovative and future-facing. So we've kind of got a tall order to fill. But what we're seeing, and what I'm going to share with you about our version of the future, is that in the next couple of years, the fundamental relationship with technology is going to change. Right? You probably have a few different touch points of technology in your life, right? You've got your cell phone, you've got a laptop, maybe you're an early adopter and you've got a smart speaker and you've asked it a joke or, set an alarm. But what we're seeing is that everything is going to have technology embedded into it. So the world is going to come alive just like the natural world, right? So you're going to be ordering food through your refrigerator. You're going to be having a discussion with your washing machine as it tells you you're about to ruin your favorite sweater, right? You're going to be coming here in your car and you're going to be having a discussion with Alexa throughout the whole process, right? You're going to be having live conversations with technology as you move about your day in every aspect. Now, one of the fun things I get to do as the Director of Strategy is show you this giant wall of text that nobody can read that says basically everything I talk about is beyond the roadmap. So if you're going to start a relationship with Salesforce, talk to our amazing sales staff like Brandon and other people, not me. So what is driving all this major change in the world is really artificial intelligence. It's the beginning of a new revolution of technology, right? Just as steam and electricity and the digital worlds all changed our lives, AI is the next big curve, right? This is the discontinuity of technology that is affecting everything before it. You can think about how the world changed with the internet from when you had PCs, right? Or how the social media world came about when we all had mobile phones. AI is a multiplier to everything before that. Now, AI in itself has been around for a while, right? You can even see from there. It's been around since even before that. It's been around in the 80s, right? We always tried to map the human brain into silicon since the beginning. But what we're seeing now is the new invention of machine learning, right? This is taking millions of rows of data, giving it to a system and saying, go through an evolutionary learning model to learn how to give me a quick answer on something small. But my job a lot when I talk to customers around the world is to set reality of what do I mean by AI, right? People ask me all the time, is AI going to replace my workers? Or is the Terminator coming to take my job? And what I tell them is that anything that is human level intelligence or general level AI is decades away, right? We've met with DARPA, I've met with every major software company in the world talking about this. We are a long way away from having an AI that can be applied to any problem. So when I talk about AI today, I'm going to be talking about what we call narrow AI. This is embedded intelligence of taking one task at your job that is fairly repetitive and usually a pain and automating that process, right? It's taking one simple step of your customer journey and making it easier. So a great example of narrow AI is something we all know, right? The recommendations and the suggestions that come out of Amazon and Netflix. But what a lot of people don't know is that these companies have gone through a fairly large change in the last 6 months with their AI, right? So Netflix in the beginning had a prediction AI, right? It would tell me, you're going to binge watch the next episode of Stranger Things. This is what you're going to check out. So I'm going to show you that next episode. They learned really quickly that this is not actually very valuable for them as a company, right? Because people were watching the same things they had always seen before. They weren't browsing through the content, and actually they were having people just leave after they watched their show they saw. So they changed from a predictive AI to what we're calling a prescriptive AI, right? They're using artificial intelligence actually to train you to become a better user, right? So at any given point on Netflix, there are 300,000 versions of the user interface, and they alter and change based off of your user habits. And they're going to get you to browse and to look around and look at everything that Netflix has to offer you. Now, another company that we talk a lot about with customers is Clara. You've been heard of this. It's a startup in San Francisco. And basically what they do is they provide for everybody an artificial intelligence that can help schedule meetings, right? So if I have a meeting with a bunch of customers, all I have to do is I CC in Clara, and what she'll do is she'll email individual customers out, she'll find out their schedules, she'll find a place for us all to meet, and she'll set it all up, and I don't have to handle anything. Now, The amazing thing about Clara, though, is that it's one of the first hybrid AI companies in San Francisco. And what I mean by this is that no AI is perfect, right? Every AI knows there's an error rate, that it doesn't know how to handle that next email, or it doesn't understand the next step. So what they have is they have a hybrid system where they have executive assistants on staff that will look at an email that Clara says, I don't know how to answer this. And the human being will step in, they'll answer the email, they'll take the next step, and inherently they're training the AI to get better and better. Now they even have a neat little piece of technology that if I say, Clara, this is an important email, that actually triggers it so there's no AI involved whatsoever. It means an executive assistant on staff knows this is very important, no drop for the customer, I'm going to step in and handle the whole process, right? You're training Clara to get better, but you're making sure there's no drop to the customer. So they have no idea that you're going in between an AI and a human being. So what will the future look like in the next 3 to 5 years? We're seeing that there are a lot of different technologies that are going to be changing how we interact with the world around us. I mean, you're going to hear a lot from virtual reality and augmented reality companies today, but we're seeing that this technology is just the beginning, right? This is the beginning of a 40-year product cycle. These technologies are just like cell phones that were the sizes of suitcases and for the rich and the military, right? This is the first wave of this technology. It's going to get cheaper, it's going to get smaller, it's going to get more accessible, and it's going to find its way out there because this is one of the best educational tools ever made, right? This is one of the best story-taking tools ever made. This is going to just expand and show up in new avenues and new areas of entertainment. Now we're also seeing the next new wave of bioprocessors, and this is just announced by Samsung. These are a new pair of chips that you can put on your skin, and it can tell you 8 metrics about your body. So they originally had in the Fitbits, right? You could determine your heart rate and the steps that you're taking. Now it can tell you your blood sugar levels and your EKG and a bunch of other information about your body. And this is going to come in the next new wave of Fitbits, right? As we're seeing even medical groups like Kaiser and Blue Shield and all the rest start looking at the interest of saying, if you share your Fitbit information with me, maybe I'll lower your premiums, right? So you're going to start seeing these in the next 3 to 5 years, everybody having a health tracker just because of the benefit it provides you. And this last example I have to share because it's been monumental and just a perfect example of augmented reality today. So I have 2 boys that are 7 and 9, and they're both autistic, and they are part of a research project at Stanford called Autism Glass. And what this is basically my boys wear Google Glass to class. And the camera on Google Glass will read all the faces of the kids in the classroom and the teacher. And if they look at somebody, it uses AI and emotional intelligence to display in the glasses their name and the emotion they're experiencing, right? It's phenomenal. I cannot explain the life-changing difference of this between hundreds of hours with therapists and all the money that gets spent in that of little flashcards to my son on the playground can look at somebody and understand immediately their name and the emotion they're experiencing, right? And that's today. This is not 3 to 5 years from now when I'm talking about the future. This is actually what's going on right now with my boys. So if you think 3 to 5 years from now, you can think of the impacts of, I'm at a conference like this almost all the time, meeting with the customers, and I'm terrible at names to faces. I just cannot remember them. If I had a pair of glasses that could show me somebody's name, their job title, and the last time I met them, I would pay my mortgage payment for a pair of those glasses, right? This is going to start showing in the next 3 to 5 years because this technology helps us connect to other people in a lot better ways. Now, hearable technology is actually taking off, and you're going to start seeing this play out a lot more in the next 3 to 5 years. Google just did the announcement that the new Pixel Earbuds can do live translation, right? So you could listen to this in English, you could hear it in Spanish, and just think about the monumental change it's going to have into how we communicate with people when you can understand every language perfectly. But the next step of that is we're seeing that they're starting to use AI to alter sound. And there's companies like Doppler Labs and other startups that are investing into how to alter sound. I actually have a pair of the Hear One earbuds, and if you guys want to check them out, find me at the reception. But basically, these are a new pair of earbuds that uses AI, and it can alter the sound. And what I mean by that is if I'm at a large conference dinner and I'm trying to hear somebody across the table and there's music and everything's too over loud, I can literally pull out the app and I can say, remove the music, remove the people behind me, and turn up human speech. And I can hear the guy across the table from me. It blows the mind of everybody when I'm at any conference dinner and they try to look it up and try to buy them immediately because this changes the life of you being able to hear and understand people around you. And this is what you're going to see play out in the next couple of years in hearable tech. So all of this technology is going to come together and kind of provide for you a digital assistant, right? Someone that's going to be helping you at any point in your life to be more productive and more connected, right? If you're an executive at a company, you have an EA, and they do all the magic in the world of managing your travel, your schedule, you know, the meetings you're going to. They're prepping you as you're about to walk in. Think about that for every single employee in a company, right? How that impact is going to change all of our lives in the workspace. We're even seeing demos from McDonald's where they have little earpieces where the employees are told anytime a customer walks in the door, anytime an order happens or a shift changes, and it immediately allows them to just not have to spend all the time figuring out what's going on next. They're let known immediately to be more productive. So what is the life going to be like in the next 3 to 5 years? Well, you're going to be, you know, having your home assistant, and you know, you're going to say, I'm going to come out here to the conference and I need to wake up 8 o'clock. Alexa, wake me up at 8 o'clock in the morning. But Alexa's a little bit smarter nowadays, right? She's actually been looking up IBM Watson weather information. She's been tracking the traffic from you to get from your house to the conference. And she's learned over time that you like to sleep in. So she starts waking you up at 7:30 and says, let's get started for your day. And she's going to walk you through all the important things you need to know as you're walking into the business, right? Maybe the next Equifax leak or what's going on in the news or what's happening in Twitter with President Trump. You're going to have all of that just kind of fed to you as you're kind of going throughout your day to be more prepared when you walk into the office. And you can see that we're going to have in the next 3 to 5 years a new area of technology, right? I've met with almost every strategic group of all the major car industries, and they are all working on bringing technology back into the car, right? This was a weak point of technology. You spent basically doing nothing throughout traffic and not being very productive. You can think about it now where I could have a conversation with Alexa and say, hey, Alexa, those 2 slides from my future work presentation, I need you to actually put them at the end of my keynote. And can you walk me through my schedule for the day? And you're just going to be more productive in that environment as you're getting to your job. And your job is going to fundamentally change. I can't tell you how many different companies I've met with that are working on bringing technology into the job to be more productive. So think of the impact of you're in a meeting and you have Alexa recording the entire meeting. She's providing you a transcript. She's providing you automatic meeting notes. She's automatically sharing that with people at your company to that couldn't make it to the meeting. Or she'll even play the role of an executive assistant and look at who's in the meeting, what's being shared, and she says, you know what, you don't actually need to be in this meeting. You can skip it. I'll actually just send you the synopsis afterwards, right? More technology is going to be brought into our jobs. And even at Salesforce, we're starting to see voice assistants at almost all the desks in our office because people are using these things to have another set of technology helping them out at their job. Now, this last one is about as futuristic as you're going to get. This is a company called Dreamscape, and you can imagine at the end of your day trying to figure out how you're going to connect with other people and how you're going to enjoy entertainment. Well, they're all trying to figure out how to get you to go back to the movies and to go back to the mall, right? This is a big millions and millions and millions of dollars that are being funded towards this initiative by AMC and Westfield and 20th Century and Warner Brothers and Steven Spielberg and all the rest to design what is called Dreamscape. And it's going to come out next quarter, in the first quarter of the year. And this is a shared virtual reality experience. So you can go to the movies to go see the new Blade Runner, and then you can put on a virtual reality helmet and the latest in motion capture gloves and little boots, and you can step into the world of Blade Runner for, with 10 of your friends for $15, right? I got to go try this because of our connections to Hollywood. As Lonnie mentioned, I work for Peter Schwartz, and he helped write movies like Minority Report and Deep Impact and War Games. So having the connections there has helped us to try this out, and I can tell you it's mind-blowing. It's everything over anything I've seen in VR and AR of every company because they have spent a lot of money on this to try to get you to go out, and you can perfectly map yourself into an area real time and experience the world. Like I got to see Jurassic Park firsthand putting on this with a couple of my coworkers. Now, as an entertainment source, this is amazing, but we're also seeing companies invest into this to have a new relationship on shopping. So we're seeing companies like Gap and Adidas that are starting to figure this out, that if I want to be at home and I'll put on a little headset, I can perfectly map my body into a virtual reality experience, and I can have my stylist in New York help me figure out what I'm going to wear to the conference and help me get better ready for my day, right? Next 3 to 5 years, going to see this play out more and more into retail spaces where people are using these to have new connections with people around the world. So why are we not there today, right? All this amazing stuff I'm telling you about in the next 3 to 5 years, what do we need to get there? Well, we need the next wave of AI, right? We've kind of gone through 2 waves already. The first one is really, what was in TurboTax, right? A really, handcrafted knowledge piece where somebody as a programmer put in all this, the different steps and the different things you needed to do in their program. But the second wave is what is really taking off at the moment, and that's machine intelligence. And the easiest example I can think of is I hand you, 50,000 pictures of cats, and then I hand you another picture of a cat, and you can tell me with a pretty high certainty if it's a cat or not. But the problem is the AI and machine learning cannot tell me why it is a cat. And that is contextual knowledge and the tacit knowledge of a human being. And that is what we're looking for in the third wave of AI. And that is really going to take off in everything from voice assistants to how you interact with technology completely. Because I'll be able to tell you it's a cat, but not only it's a cat because it's got, white fur, it's fluffy, it's a small little animal, and it's cute, right? This is a cat. I know this because of all these different reasons. That knowledge, that contextual knowledge is changing AI. And it's really what DARPA is working on currently right now and what Google is trying to do, because they need this to make the next step in AI. Because they figure this out, they can have everything from AI manners to AI jokes to everything knowledge of actually going backwards. So if I told you that's a cat, I can give you all the reasons why. You can think of the different reasons of like, I declined you for a loan at JP Morgan. Well, why did you do that? I need all those answers of why I made that decision, and machine learning can't do that right now. So just to give you a little insight of what it's like in the Bay Area and how crazy it is, this is a snapshot of just 3 months ago of all the companies and startups that are focused on AI. So this is every industry that is covered with AI plus X, right? I'm going to be AI in the manufacturing industry or the retail industry or the medical industry, right? And there is a lot of investment in this area in the Bay Area right now. But we want to make sure that this is not a trend. It's not going to go the way of the Segway or the Apple Watch and just die off. Like, how do we know that AI is going to stick around? Our team watches these 3 major metrics, right? This is tools, talent, and treasure. Every company is developing developer tools and the platform so you will build on their platform to make their AI smarter. Right? Even Salesforce Einstein or TensorFlow from Google or OpenAI projects or the Amazon AI platform, like all those different platforms are there so you will work in that technology and start using their tools immediately. Now the talent, if you are a PhD with an AI, you can walk into Silicon Valley and work for whatever company you want to work for at whatever price you want to work for, because they are the hottest commodity and the hardest people to hire across the entire industry. And this is actually why a lot of software giants are doing acquisitions left and right, because they can't hire these people. They have to just buy them straight out. And even the treasure, as you can see up there, so $46 billion worldwide will be spent on just venture funds and angel funding over AI in the next 5 years. It's the biggest chunk of venture funding capital right now. So all the money's going there, all the talent's going there, all the tools are going there. AI is going to be sticking around for a while. So how is this going to change our work and life when we have AI around us everywhere? Well, what we'd like to talk about at Salesforce is that the jobs are not actually going to go away. The tasks at your job are going to change, right? There are certain aspects of your job that are repetitive and take a lot of, painful time. And those things are going to start being replaced by AI, so you can focus more on those important skills on the left, right? So you can see that managing others or anything using your expertise or your human tacit knowledge is not going to be replicated for the next decade or even longer. And even think about the example of unpredictable physical work, right? Think of the plumber. The plumber has to go to a house and somebody says, my sink's broke, and you have to walk in, you have to open up the sink. It's completely different every single time. This is not something an AI can learn data from beforehand and walk through these steps. And it's a human conversation to try to figure out what's wrong, diagnose it, and keep moving forward. But if you have jobs or things that you do at your job where you're doing data entry or data collection, data processing, or predictable physical work, those things are going to be replaced by AI. And we're starting to see those come into, in use so that people are spending more time on the important aspects of their job. So what are some of these jobs of the future? We've been asked a lot to kind of look at this because we're really trying to figure out what is the next wave of technology. And these are kind of some new areas we're going to see play out in the next couple of years. The one that I love the most is actually the Iot Consultant or the Smart Home Consultant. Right? You can think of all the different technologies that you have today, and these are going to ramp up more and more. Right? Most adults in this room have anywhere from 85 to 100 accounts that you deal with. Right? From your mortgage, your Amazon, your Netflix, everything that you manage as a person, your connection to a company, it's about 100 things. In the next 2 years, it's supposed to be over 200. It's supposed to double. because of all the startups, all the Kickstarters, all the great ideas, all the new products and services, and how companies are trying to have a connection to you individually, all that is going to ramp up. How do you make sense of that? Right? That's the smart home consultant. That's what Apple's trying to do. That's what a lot of the retail and real estate areas all trying to tackle. Like, we're going to help you set you up for the house of the future. I'm going to walk you through how to do this so you don't have to learn how. Now, life assistants, life is going to get a lot more crazy, right? We're seeing a lot more independent workers, right? They're going from, I think they're supposed to hit around 60% in the next couple of years of how many people are independent or contract-based. Right? And they're going to be constantly fluidly moving around. If you're in Silicon Valley and you work in a company for more than a couple of years, you're a veteran, because most people are constantly moving from job to job. So how do you make sense of all that? How do you make sense of what's going on in your life and your career, and what do you do when you come out of college? That's the role of the life assistant, and this whole role that recruiting companies and employment companies are looking at to try to get you set up for the future and happy in your life. The remote operator one, this is the number one answer we give when people talk about, like, the trucking industry is all going to die, right? It's all going to go towards the way of autonomous vehicles. Well, not really. What's actually going to happen is that a truck driver is going to change. Instead of him managing one truck and spending his whole life in that truck, what happens is the truck driver might wake up in the morning, go into his garage, put on a little virtual reality helmet, or stand in front of a computer screen, and he will become the next version of the drone pilot. Right? He will manage one truck that is dropping off a load at a warehouse, and he will drive that truck virtually, and he will get it from the warehouse to the freeway, and then he'll turn on autonomous vehicle driving, and he'll leave it, and he'll jump into the next truck. And that truck will go off through the freeway, and he'll manage another truck, get it to the freeway, another truck, get it to the freeway, another truck, get it to the freeway, and to the point at the end of the time, he will actually go back to the last truck that's actually made it to its destination, and then he'll have to drive it to where it had to do the drop-off. Right? A truck driver is not going to be managing one car. They're going to be managing a fleet of vehicles. And we're going to need more truck drivers, because I don't know about you, I have a pile of Amazon boxes in front of my house. And as this stuff is becoming more and more prominent and we're buying more and more things, the distribution model is going to change. We're going to need more vehicles on the road. So we're not going to get rid of them. We're just going to change the job a little bit. And when we're thinking about signs of the future within Salesforce, like when we're trying to think about what is going to actually happen without technology, we actually look at this metric and we call it internally something kind of fun, the creepy to cool factor. And that is, when we talk about technology, there's a lot of times that people get a little weirded out about it, right? We're in another big wave of technology, and with every major wave of technology, there are always the people that push back and they freak out because it's easier for them to understand how technology will do wrong and not how it will change our life for the positive. Right? So buying with your face, the biometric translations, right? This is a big change. And I can tell you that almost every single major retailer is working on the fact that I will be able to walk into a Walmart, I will pick up an item, I will walk out of the Walmart. I never had to pull out my wallet. I never had to pull out my phone, because they knew immediately who I was the second I walked in, and they knew how to charge me, right? It's a little weird right now. You're thinking about, they know my face as I walk in the door. They do. And a lot of companies that we talk about, they're trying to figure out how to provide a benefit to the customer with the information they have. So we're going to start seeing buying with your face in the retail experience become new and pretty cool in the next couple of years. Now, preemptive retail, I can tell you that a lot of companies are getting to the point where they can automatically send you things that you thought you were going to buy because they know you're going to buy it. Amazon did a study that said like 67% of the amount of things that you buy in a grocery store in a retail experience, you don't want to. Right? You know you're going to buy your eggs, your bread, your milk, your toilet paper. There's all these basic necessities of your life that you know you're going to buy, and you don't want to go out of the house to buy it. Well, they're just going to start sending it to you, because they already know at this point what you're going to be doing. They already know what you're going to probably buy. And if you don't like it, you just leave it on your doorstep. But if you do, you're going to pull it in, they'll automatically charge you. And this is how retail is going to change from it being not even subscription-based, but preemptive in their attempts to sell you something. And the last one, I always love talking about this example because a lot of people don't know about this. Alphago kind of went through a revamp, right? This was the big system from Google that took, shocked the world and, beat the leading Go players around the world. Well, Alphago Zero is the new version of that. And if you haven't heard about this, you should, because this is one of the most interesting changes in artificial intelligence. It's called Alphago Zero because it didn't use any training data. So AlphaGo read every single Go game basically in history from all the best players and learned from that model. Where AlphaGo Zero just knew the basics of the game and then played itself. And then it played itself and it played itself. And it went over this in a week In 7 days, it was 200-0, beating the Alphago system, and it had beaten every single player before that had ever tried it. Now, what people are doing now is they're looking at it, they're realizing there are all these strategies and all these moves that came out of this system learning from itself, not by human beings saying this is how you play AlphaGo. Like, it invented entirely new strategies. So the idea that we need training data to train these AIs is going to start going away in the next couple of years, because they're going to actually be able to analyze and look at things from a different angle than we ever have and show us a new way to attack the problem. Now, this last one I have to share with you just because we're in Napa Valley, and this is an amazing company. We met with them in Chicago, and they're actually doing the first wave of autonomous RVs. It comes out in the first quarter of this year, and if you ever want to take your family to Napa Valley or Yosemite or the Grand Canyon, what you're going to be able to do is go online, type in the, this address for Lippert Components, and you're going to be able to buy a trip. And an autonomous RV will drive up to your house, you'll pile your whole family in, and it will stop at the restaurants you want to stop at. It'll drive throughout the entire night, and it'll provide a whole new realm of travel and entertainment as you get from your place to your destination. Now, when a lot of people talk about autonomous vehicles, they say how the world's going to change and go in the dark, but they don't think about the positive versions of what we can do with this technology and whole new industries of the travel industry that are going to open up because of autonomous vehicles. So I'm going to, guard you against what you're going to see in the news and the media about AI. I talk constantly about what we're changing the world with AI and how technology is going to make everything better. I always show this quote, because this is straight out of Time magazine. This is, the automation job list, right? The entire industries are going to disappear because of automation, or the entire service and office jobs are all going to be eliminated by technology. And we all should be trying to figure out UBI and what we're going to do next, and what's my job going to be. But I love showing that this quote is from 1961, right? This is not new. Every major wave of technology, there's always pushback. There's always a reason why we need to figure out how it's going to do wrong. And what we show is that it's a failure of imagination of how you can think about technology is going to change. I work for Peter Schwartz again, that he is one of the original founders of the internet. And he says when the internet started, nobody would have said there's going to be a job in a whole division to manage the Twitter account for a social media division for every major Fortune 500 company. Well, think about what AI is going to do for you, and you think about that future. Don't think about the jobs going away and the automation being replaced. It's about what's possible with AI now. So thanks, and hopefully I gave you a brighter version of the future ahead. So. Yep.
How did you like that? Wasn't that great?
Because
It's mind-blowing. I absolutely love the Google Glasses for autistic children. What an incredible life those kids are going to have, because they are able to read something that they formerly weren't able to read, and they can handle those social cues. A couple of quick thanks, and then I'll bring Peter up. So part of the wonderful things that happen when you're a startup nonprofit, and I really don't want to ask locally, because we have the largest number of nonprofits per capita in this county in the entire state of California.